All right, everybody, welcome back to the Master and Apprentice video and podcast. How you doing today, Afton?
I'm doing good. How you doing today, Sammy?
I'm doing pretty good. So, if you guys haven't already, go watch Ahsoka episode 5. Absolutely baller, absolutely amazing. The Ahsoka series is stunning. It's great. It's the best Disney product we've yet received for Star Wars. With that being said, today's video is going to contain some heavy spoilers from episode 4 and 5, from Clone Wars season 3, from Rebels season 4 and 3. So if you haven't watched any of those, please click out of this video. If you have, this is the video for you. So with that being said, we see Ahsoka die, right? We see Ahsoka die in episode 4. Balin kills her, right? He doesn't cut her head off, but she dies, right? And we know that because she is no longer, her soul, her whatever it is no longer present in her body, and she goes into the world between worlds. And we see Anakin kind of put her through this test, and she does come back to life, but this has, I'm assuming, a couple people confused, right? Why does Ahsoka die but then not get to die? Like, how is that fair? So, in episode season 3 of Clone Wars, we see the Mortis arc. Right?
Before he says this, sorry, spoiler alerts again for a different series, Clone Wars. 13 years late, better watch it. Just had to put that spoiler alert out there.
We see there's the father, there's a son, there's a daughter. The son represents the dark side, the daughter represents the light side, the father is the balance, right? And we see that Anakin is kind of that balance, right? We see him put through a test using the Force. We see all that happen. The father does eventually die. And without going into crazy detail, again, Athens spoiler warning, Ahsoka does sacrifice herself for the daughter, right? It all works out. Ahsoka comes back to life, obviously. Spoilers. But she does get this heavy tie to the daughter in the world between worlds, right? We know in the Rebels series, we see that the Mortis twins, the Mortis arc, is heavily tied in with the world between worlds because that mural is how Ezra opens the bridge in the world between worlds, right? And then he sees this owl. This owl is, we're assuming, the daughter in some sort of a sense because she leads Ezra, to save Ahsoka. We've seen this owl multiple times in Clone Wars and in the Rebels when it's kind of like a saving angel for Ahsoka multiple times through each series. Now, we don't really know too much, but all we can really speculate is that there's heavy ties with the Mortis twins and the Mortis arc with Ahsoka going into this Ahsoka series. And this last episode kind of ties it all in, if you will. Anything on that, Afton?
This is just something that's literally been introduced in 2010, and there's been 3 different pieces of information about it, and this is the third. If this is the only thing you've seen about it, and you're like, wow, there's so much information in those Clone Wars and Rebels where we see this world in between worlds, we're pretty darn close to just as confused as you are. You guys do know more information, and we do know a little bit more than you guys, but just know that there's not a ton of information. That they're doing this on purpose.
Yeah. And the speculation comes in, we think that Anakin has something to do with the father, right? We know he's the chosen one. He's supposed to bring balance to the Force. The father is the balance between the light side and the dark side. We see Anakin kind of being that balance between Ahsoka teetering from death and life in the world between worlds, right? Which kind of leads us to believe that either Anakin is the father or the father is within Anakin, or they're one in each other, or Anakin represents the father, something along the lines, right? Because we know Ahsoka essentially is the daughter or represents the daughter. The same thing, right, with Anakin and the father. We know Ahsoka is that with the daughter. We see her sacrifice herself for the daughter. We see that owl that is pretty much, either another form of daughter or is the daughter in that form. It's tied with Ahsoka. It saves Ahsoka, protects Ahsoka. So we know those two are all tied together. Now, what the son could be, it could be probably Palpatine's the best guess on that. I mean, I think that's an obvious guess, but we don't know that for sure. But that's kind of where it leads us off as okay, the Mortis arc, the Mortis twins are heavily tied with Ahsoka, and it's kind of seeming more and more obvious that our speculation on Anakin being related or in regards with the father as, the chosen one, the balance between the light side and dark side, also seems more obvious in the episode 5 because he's the one, again, who brings Ahsoka on the balance of life and death, right? It's kind of up to him, is what it seems like, until he sees that she's ready, that she wants to live. She says, "I choose to live," right? And it was kind of up to him. He says, "There is still hope for you," right? He's the one who gives her that. So I know it's super confusing, but if you guys haven't already, just go watch that arc in episode or in season 3 of the Clone Wars. Go watch a little bit of that arc in the Rebel series. It doesn't explain it much better, but it will give you a little bit of knowledge, so you can kind of theorize on your own what's going on with all of that stuff, because it's interesting, right? And we know the World Between Worlds is going to probably play more into the series, because we know Ezra also has a big tie in the World Between Worlds. We know Thrawn had some draws to the World Between Worlds, so we'll see how it goes moving forward. So yeah. With that, we recommend, guys, go watch episode 4 and 5. Go watch all of the Ahsoka series. It's great. Go watch season 3 of the Clone Wars with the Mortis arc. Great. Go watch the Rebels. All of it great. Any last words, Afton?
No, sir.
All right. With that, hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Let us know what you guys think of Ahsoka down in the comments, and we will see you guys in the next one.